Good morning and welcome back to the Coin King channel. I am your host, Down to Crypto TA. We've just been going a little sideways here in Bitcoin's price action. Got a little bit of an expansion taking place right now, but still, nonetheless, just back testing three times of a test on this 786 Fibonacci retracement level. We know that we came into some major resistance here in this zone right here. We also have the 382, which is about $98,000. We did not manage to tap that. We were getting some bearish divergence across multiple time frames, and the 4 hour just needs a little bit of a correction based on the data that I'm seeing. We broke the momentum trend line that was through here. We got a bit of a head and shoulder formation here, shoulder, head, shoulder. We looked at that, measured move on this also. And let's see here. So this is supposed to be the implied measured move here. We haven't quite made our way down to this level just yet. I am looking at a lower level towards the fib line. It is somewhere across here. I'm not betting that we get it, but I'm just making that information known to you that there is a golden pocket. I believe that ratio sits just out there. Let me just draw the fib in case I'm wrong. Okay, so it's up a little bit from here if I draw it from there. Otherwise, if I draw it from here, it is on point. So that is what I am looking at. I will, however, well, I'm just going to keep that to the low. We'll see what happens from there. Actually, let me see. Because if this is making sense, then I'll leave it like that. No, it's not making sense. I'm just going to, just going to leave that fib drawn there from the absolute low of that move right there to the tippity top, top, top. And this fib right here is just locally drawn from this bottom here to this top right here. And if I'm not mistaken, it might also be, let me just capture, I really hate to do it like that. I'm just going to capture this section right in here. Let's see, the value area high there, point of control is going to be somewhere down here. So roughly close to it. I really like to lean more on the prior highs in this case, because at the end of the day, price action will respect support and resistance levels as opposed to um, much more over a value area, support and resistance levels. So you can see how we're holding these candles right through here as support. Once we slip through that, we can take a look at liquidity being taken from this little low right here. We do have quite a bit of liquidity below us as well. It's not a guarantee that price actually goes down and takes that liquidity first, but it is there. I have a line in here for some reason, not sure why, but that is gone. Let's see if we can't finish getting this head and shoulders to play out. We also had some divergence taking place on CBD. When I looked at it yesterday, that data has been removed. So I can start it. See, I'm gonna share this tab right here with you, and then you can see this high. You can see the high here, this high right here. Well, if I open this up right here, you're gonna see that there is divergence. And this from that high in here, we do have a bear idea. So higher high on CVD, lower high in price action. It's a bear idea. Okay. And then I'm using a 1 hour there and come back to the regular Bitcoin chart here on TradingView. And I know that we have bearish divergence through here as well. Here as well. Alright, so we're tapping onto the 20 SMA here at the moment, along with those lows. It will not be until we actually lose this level right here, which I would expect for price action to, yeah, we got a little bit of a squeeze through here too. You won't be able to notice it from this Bollinger Band, but we do have a little bit of squeeze in here, and that is indicating that price would get the move to the downside. That's what it typically does. Just still waiting for our to shape up. Nothing new here. These levels right here remain the same. I did check them this morning, so I did not need to change them. Again, we slightly missed that 382, but that's fine because we do have bearish divergence here on the daily time frame as well. Between this high and this high, we also have a bear div. So if I take a look here, you won't see it across here, but you can see it right here. So you can see that bear div here. Higher high here, lower high here. Sometimes that can lead to price action being squeezed higher. So let's just say that that indicator is moving faster than price action. It makes a low before price action does. That'll give it some bullish divergence to get in another attempt to the upside here. So we're going to continue to watch this level here, and we're going to continue to watch actually just the three levels that are in between. Well, we're right in the zone anyway, which is supposed to be the 382 50% retracement, which is in line with what we're looking at on a monthly time frame. Um, taking the liquidity from this range that we were in for a while. That's a good thing. Everything else in here we covered yesterday. I don't really need to cover that again today. Yeah, yeah. So again, that's the analogy there. That's it right there. So for the rest of the time being, I guess we'll just wait until something comes up for us there on that chart. Um, mm, let's see here for Ethereum's chart here. Ethereum basically the same. So Ethereum, if you draw your fib out from this low here, yeah, it's from this low right here. Just slide that over like that. So if you draw your fib out from that low there, we're just resting on the 382. If Ethereum can hold the 382, which I mean, whatever Bitcoin does, I am assuming that Ethereum is probably going to do the same thing. But holding the 382 Fibonacci retracement level is quite bullish. Okay. I just want to say that, even though, like I said, it's pretty much doing whatever Bitcoin is doing right now. So, and it's doing it more aggressively, but it is still holding this 382 fair retracement level. A little bit of an expansion in here, nothing major as far as I can see. It's not a huge expansion. The same thing as far as the bearish divergence is concerned applied to Ethereum as well across multiple time frames. And here we got the bearish divergence. You can see lower high here, higher high here, even the MACD momentum is completely going out on the MACD. Looks like the MACD is setting up for a squeeze as well. So 1 hour time frame is the time frame that we probably want to keep in mind for some sort of an expansion could take place here. Now that can take some time before that happens, but it looks like it is gearing up for some sort of an expansion. Typically, the way that I'm seeing it down there indicates that it would move up as far as the 1 hour is concerned. Doesn't mean that it has to be a huge expansion. It just means that some sort of an expansion is some sort of expansion is being set up for this 1 hour time frame. Same situation with the head and shoulder formation. Starting to go a little sideways in here right now because we basically just squeezing through here. I don't like for it to extend out too much. Otherwise, it doesn't, it doesn't fit the narrative of a head and shoulder formation. But if we took a measured move on this one right here, it looks like it would lead us to the golden pocket. And this one right here has pretty even armpits. So if I did it like this, okay, so a little bit further down, it seems here, it would be more so towards this low these highs right here, towards these highs right here. Okay, if we got that wonderful move down on Ethereum. Now the larger trend is still intact. I can move this here because the larger trend would be this. But by the time this happens, it's kind of late in the game. Um, so if it gets down here and it decides it's not going to bounce and it keeps rolling up, then we're kind of late. But this is where the larger trend is sitting at, and this larger trend is still intact because this is going so sideways. That break from the one from me moving this one, the break across here, I don't consider that to be the valid breakdown. So I know these 4 hours are going to implement some sort of a correction, and you can see the bearish divergence down through here as well. And the 4 hour again is the time frame that is indicating some sort of an expansion. It's not really tight. It's not tight like it was in here. Like when we were here, compressing here. It was tight, and we got this move to the upside. This isn't exactly tight, and you can see how you can stay in an expansion for a while. It's usually generally once it comes up here. So this entire section right here was where a squeeze was building up for a break to the downside, but it took several candles in almost about a day before that even played out and gave that initial move there to the downside. This was a quick squeeze and release, so that didn't take too long. Um, MACD is still postured down. Delta is below the zero line, which just indicates that the MACD has crossed a signal line, but the MACD is on the top side of the zero line, which means that this could still just be a correction here, and then we get that continued move to the upside, but a little bit of a cool off for these time frames after such a big massive move up. Well, relative to what we've been getting, it's a nice pump to the upside. Also, this is a previous pivot here. I did not change it, which I should have been moving it to here, but I just left it as it was prior. Lazy, I guess, just absolutely lazy. But that is what we're resting on. I did have that VWAP in here. We looked at that yesterday. We saw that this particular candle right here interacted with VWAP and it bounced away from it, and that VWAP was acting as some sort of a blockade through here. I deleted it though because basically I have this trend line through here, and this trend line through here gives me a better resistance level through here. Maybe it can come in and back test this actual trend line right here. It hasn't tapped this actual trend line, come really close to it, but haven't actually tapped it. Still just kind of between our 3 points, this one, this one, this one. I'm still in favor of, and that's only if it happens, because it may not happen, of this liquidity here being taken. But when we look at this daily time frame, we can see we got the bear div in here on the daily time frame as well. Now it's so close to the top with this bear div that it can easily be invalidated. It's so close that actually it wouldn't be able to invalidate this one, but it can invalidate the momentum to the downside with the turn up right here by just taking out this high right here. Price action above this high and the RSI above this high. That's all we really need to see in here to invalidate this bear div that we have in here. Again, riding really close to the zero line on the MACD and the delta, which just indicates a squeeze. Nothing's changed here. We talked about the resistance level in here, which is the volume over price here. So this node right here, volume over price, that's some pretty good resistance right there. I think we also have volume over time in here. I don't have volume over time on, but let's just take a look at that. And that's just regular volume. Yeah, nothing. Let's see. We're coming from right here. Hmm. Nothing new really. And the volume is declining. It typically happens when there's some sort of a pattern anyway. You'll see volume declining. So I take that with a grain of salt. Just seeing the volume decline, that's what typically happens. When you build out a pattern, you get decline in volume. And then at that point, you'd be looking for a spike in volume if you see a break of that pattern. So this is neither here nor there. And then, of course, the 10 and the 5 EMA here on the monthly time frame. And you can see the coiling in between here is where we are building out that pattern formation in here. So the pattern could be very well not complete yet, and we're just being premature. But this area right here, we're expecting for some sort of an expansion to take place the same way we did when we were here, which I don't think that we've even fulfilled this one right here. So we had the coiling range right here, and then we got the breakdown below this range. Okay, so that's quite interesting. Let me turn both of these off. Like that. We had this as well. Right, so we're just tapping those lows here from where we got the breakdown from this squeeze, which technically this should still be in motion. You haven't closed back inside of here, not on a monthly basis. Once we do close back inside on a monthly basis, I guess I could go ahead and delete this thesis right here, because the measure move would put us back down here to where we have our red ascending zone here, which has just been done to include this little pivot right here. I could likely adjust this. I think I did this from a line bias, line perspective. I did, but at the same time, I hate to cut through and I'm cutting through these right here. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. It's a hold zone anyway. It doesn't mean that it has to react when it hits the top or anything like that. So yeah, this is supposed to be our actual breakdown since we did close outside of this level right here. But we started a new one right here, and I'm gonna stick with this one, and then if we close back inside, then I'll change it. Same scenario over here. You can see that Ethereum did manage to get to the 50% retracement. I'm just going to, yeah, do that one just as that is done. All right, so kind of watching this right here right now, and nothing heavy on that expansion. We're just between the standard deviation 1 and 2, and that's it. But nothing crazy as far as I can see right now. Just some temporary or short-term volatility right now between these, based on how I set this in. What the condition is for this, this is just short-term volatility. Solana, Solana not expanding, even though it did get this breakdown from this rising wedge here yesterday. We looked at it from a 5-minute time frame, but I wasn't enticed to short this. We did look at it briefly on this 5-minute, which showed it a lot um, clearer. And that was about it. We just looked at it. I don't know if anybody took it. I know I didn't take it. I wish I had, but I'm just trying to trade one instrument at a time right now, and that focuses on Bitcoin. But that was a nice breakdown from this rising channel here yesterday on Solana. Solana was, acting a little funky yesterday, which was one of the things that I mentioned. You could see, and I was like, must be the meme coin narrative because that's what Solana is. It's really hard to trade Solana at times, especially when the memes become the narrative behind it. Like you have to take some time to, at least for me personally, I have to take some time to adjust to the change of understanding why Ethereum is pumping or not pumping, and that is because when other altcoins are in play for why price action is moving on Solana, it makes it very difficult to short and very difficult. I mean, I guess the long narrative would be the best thing anytime that happens, but it does make it very difficult because it's not pumping on anything else other than certain meme coins are tied to Solana, and you have to buy Solana first to trade those meme coins, and that affects Solana's price action. So I was saying yesterday about how I got an alert about Bunk being down. I believe in a couple of other meme coins might also be down as well, which has an impact on how Solana performs. I don't know why Yahoo is showing up. It's my default setting right now. Did a reset on my PC. So yeah, when we take a look here with a lot of the red and stuff in here, like this one isn't specific to any particular um any particular coins. Banter's is. I know that his is, but this one isn't. But when those meme coins aren't doing good, that hurts Solana. That really does hurt Solana. But it's not expanding right now, which is cool. Just kind of sideways in here, low volatility. We will be looking for that expansion to take place in here. Looks like we got a little bit of a wedgie structure in here. Typically something bullish, but let me take a look at this 15-minute time frame. Yeah, it's just holding. It's just holding. Momentum is kind of flat on the MACD, but it's still just holding. Take a look here. We did come into this resistance through here. I didn't adjust as we were chopping through here and not managing to get through. I'm going to see if that makes a difference, and it does make a slight difference on it. But I'm just going to leave it as it is, just in case it is meant to be an actual breakout attempt taking place through here for so. Golden pocket bounce and all that good stuff. May have even had some bullish divergence down here. Let's see. No bullish divvies. No bullish divvies down through here. MACD is rising. Delta's flat, but MACD is rising. I would have to actually see the breakout. But this is that same little area that we were looking at just a few minutes ago on the other time frame. Where I said little wedgie structure is happening right here, and it is happening right through here. And this is all a part of this block right here. That's all a part of this block right here. So a failed breakout would be just taking the liquidity from this top and then where we expect the price action to come to, because liquidity is building off of this one candle right here. A mother bar. And then these are all the inside candles. So we're waiting on some sort of an explosive move to take place through here. I didn't count this as a head and shoulder simply because of the wick. If I do a line bias on this thing right here, obviously I can say that Obviously, I can say it's the Head and Shoulders, which is about what all of them were doing. Fair deal on the high right there. So, yeah, nothing. Want to support through here. The momentum has not actually broken down. We want to see it break down from this trend line right here as well for that continuation to the downside. Um, and you can see the multiple touches through here. So that is legit. Previous day low, previous week high is here. So we are kind of battling that previous week high at the moment. But the biggest thing for Solana was the point of control, which we know that we were hitting. This is just a random level through here, what I call a sandwich. But this is the point of control, and we know that this is what we were hitting yesterday, which was major resistance for Sol. Got the 26 EMA through here, and the 5 and 10 just overhead too. So if it did manage to push up a little bit more, it would be a back test of that golden pocket. There she goes doing little jumpy stuff right there. All right, I took a look at Dash again. We talked about where if Dash came up to here, I said I straight short the crap out of Dash. I told you this yesterday that this was going to be the resistance level for Dash. I got up this morning, and as I was trying to get the chart together, which was only about an hour before I came on stream, I saw it then. I saw that we tapped into the level, but we were at this candle right here at the time, and it's a little bit too far for me to want to take the risk on it. But we do have a bear div through here. Now, yesterday I was looking at a triangle formation through here. Dash came back up through that triangle because it wasn't done developing when I drew it out. So that was my fault. I think I looked at it from just here to here, and I had it across here like this. I had it across here like this on stream yesterday. This is how it was looking. It wasn't done developing, and therefore, when it looked like it was recovering inside of the wedge structure, it wasn't because it wasn't done developing. This was the wedge structure right here to indicate. I hate to drag this out so far, but the magnet is going to keep grabbing. Magnet's going to keep grabbing. This is the structure right here, which coincide with where the squeeze was actually located at, which indicated that Dash was going to get that additional move here to the upside instead of breaking down with the rest of the market. But it came into the resistance level, which is so freaking on point. Thank goodness. So on point, thank goodness. And yeah. We'll see if it wants to hold back in here. And I'm gonna say the same thing I said yesterday, because when I did it yesterday, when I was looking at Dash and I was giving my take on it, I did and some of this stuff got deleted with the reset of my PC. So I apologize, but I can understand what I did yesterday because I was looking at it and I was saying, I think it was this top right here. Yeah. And I was saying, in my opinion, we get that breakdown right here. I would be looking for Dash to do one of these numbers right here, come back into here, come back up to this one right here, and then get a breakdown. And I set it for here or here. I did one of these two in here. I know that this is really low for anybody who's absolutely bullish on Dash. But one thing about Dash is when Dash dumps, Dash dumps. So I was looking at the potential head and shoulders formation. It typically comes back to the mean, and the mean is located here. It's the mean right now. It typically comes back to the mean. I don't know if I need to update these lines right now. I didn't want to change anything. I wanted to leave it as it was when I streamed yesterday, and then I'll go back and I'll take a look at it before I get off the stream today to let you know if there are any updated levels you need to look for, just in case for some reason Dash decides it wants to keep dashing, okay? I do appreciate Dash dashing because when I was bearish on Dash, Dash was definitely not dashing. All right, so everything through here still looks pretty good. Like I said, bear div, higher high here, lower high here. Yeah, lower high there. So yeah, Dum, 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 dum. Just at the local mean right now, which is where price action is right now. It's just at the local mean. So 20 SMA. But this larger one, let me see what I drew it off. I think it was a week. So you don't have to worry about it if that's what I did. I didn't label it. Um, I did not label it. But um, I believe this is all still good and I don't need to change anything right now. This was already really extended at this point, which is why um, I was willing to think that, the pattern was drawn wrong, number one. But if I take that out of the equation, just technically, it is quite extended. It is quite extended. It's doing one of those Zcash things right now. Still attempting to hold that mean, and you got the highs in here too, so that gives it a little bit of support. But once it does return or break down from that mean, especially this what you're seeing through here, yeah. The first place I would tell you to look before you even get here is going to be here. And that's going to be if things happen this week, because the validity of this is only through this week, I believe. And then after this, and I will look here. But it must return. it must return in here. It must. And then I also looked at, I think it was Monero, and I said if Monero came up and hit that other one, then I would short the crap out of Monero. Let me tell you, I haven't short anything. I have not shorted a single thing because I haven't been looking at the chart here since that. Let's see. And Monero did not. So hooray on Monero, because I was saying if Monero came back up here, I would short the crap out of Monero. But Monero didn't do that. And I said if it attempted to come back to here, I would look forward to sweep that liquidity. That would be the short take on Monero. So Monero at the moment, see Monero returned, which is what you typically want to see. So Monero return. I talked about possible position right here at the previous day low on Monero as a SFP, which it did react here. Actually, it double dipped in here. So that ended up being a good call right here as well. Again, nothing that I've traded or anything like that. These levels are still relevant. Let me take that off the chart. Except for these previous days, I haven't changed where this is at. So let me move this now. That's previous day high now and previous day low now. So that's one break of a previous day low. No actual pivot change, but apparently it's market structure is bearish on one of these time frames. And I was just on what, a 1 hour time frame? Okay, yeah, I was just on a 1 hour time frame. And then this was going to be the next level that I was willing to watch for here on Monero, which is for me is really this one right here. But if we can respect the fib level, because we have a fib level in here, it might just wick into this, or maybe it doesn't catch it. So I'm just going with this this 50% retracement right here in the event that it does choose to continue this downtrend and come down here. Uh, but yes, very euphoric the same way Monero was. I mean, the same way Dash is. Oh, this was that level up here too. This would have been the next one at 889. And again, this all will update with the end of this week. I think. I think this updates at the end of this week. It looks like it may have had like a falling wedge through here as well. uh, turn this off for a sec. Actually, hold on, let me see something. Like it didn't get an X on this, so yeah, it wouldn't have been anything to do right here anyway. No, it really didn't expand when it got this drop down. You got these two little candles right here, but no actual expansion, so really nothing to see there. And it looks like it may have developed some sort of a falling wedge through here prior to that breakup as well. Okay, so we'll see if it comes back up. Ooh, only thing about falling wedge is falling wedges tend to lead to inverse head and shoulders. Why? Because when you have a falling wedge, you break out of the falling wedge, you come back and you back test, and then you go up. The structure is zigzaggy already. So the break up and the break back down creates the inverse head and shoulders, which then, all eyes will be on that and they're looking for this thing to keep smoking, right? And vice versa with the rising structure. You flip into a head and shoulder formation. You get the back test. You get the next. You get the right shoulder, and then that's the breakdown. So they work together. Those two criminals. They work together. Let me see. And just making sure Bitcoin isn't doing anything while I'm yippy yapping. Yippy yapping. All right. So I'm not going to be inclined to attempt a short on this anymore. And that happened right there. But we'll see how it looks if it comes up. If it comes up, and if I mean, usually when you have like a falling wedge too, measured move, you want to look at two. You want to look at the first pivot, and then you want to look at the ultimate pivot, the highest pivot, and this is in reverse. So that's why I'm saying first here, and then the highest pivot here. What you typically want to look at for the measured move on it. I was gonna do. What was I about to do? Just in case. I guess if this was going to be, and let's just make an assumption that if this was going to be, I'm gonna set it over here. Then yeah, I mean it would come back towards this high, and if I drew a fib on this, uh, and I want to put on this one right here, it would be like this. Now, if it comes up and puts in a lower high, that would be great. So let's just say it doesn't manage to fulfill this move in here. I mean, that would be good because then you have the opportunity. Well, if it takes out this previous day high, if it closed above this previous day high, then forget about it. The breakdown of the structure is over. Possibly, it's possibly over. It's possibly over from whatever time frame it's happening on. But maybe, I mean, just maybe it comes in and rejects here, and then it breaks down, and then once that breakdown happens, um, that would be asking a lot. It comes back below here, but mm, it's above the euphoric level. Basically, it's above the euphoric level. We'll check back on it to see if it doesn't manage to get back into this one right here, and it just simply wants to reject from here. That I mean, yeah, there are a few cases, a few arguments that can be made for that being it. I really don't like inverse head and shoulders at the top of price action. I don't. I don't. But I just know that they happen when you get a breakup from a rising wedge and a back test. It, yeah, I don't like them at the top. I like head and shoulders at the top, inverse at bottoms. This is in the bottom, so I don't subscribe to it, to be honest. All right, so that's that. I'll leave this in play, get rid of this, and we'll see how we do with the retest in here. I looked at, okay, Dash, Monero. I don't think that I did Zen. I don't think I did Zen. I couldn't have done Zen because, yeah, this is old information on Zen. So Horizon, I have to come back and actually put something in here on Horizon. What is all of this? Yeah, this is all old. Yeah, this is old, 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 old. So, oh, look at that nice inverse head and shoulders that Horizon had got too. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have to come back in here and take a look at this one because I haven't set anything in motion for it. I don't like this right here. Whatever's happening over here is showing weakness and quite a bit. Look at how price action's moving on this with a struggle, with a struggle. How clean those candles are. How clean those are. You see all these wickety wick, 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 wick. Yeah, just the angle is all wrong. I mean, the angle didn't stop it right here, but this isn't. Yeah, it's not the same. I don't like that. So I don't have any update on that. I didn't go in there. I don't think I updated rows to anything. No, I didn't update rows on anything. And let's see. There are some other ones that I do need to add, and I'm gonna put a separate what do you call this folder. I'll do a separate folder for. Oh, the other thing with no, it's not that. It's not that. It's hold on. It's Zcash. Zcash. This is just one of. I got another Zcash in here as well. I was looking at it on. I don't know if I was on a 4 hour daily time frame. Blah, blah, blah. It's probably daily time frame. I was looking at in here. Yeah, because this is the one that I usually use, but when I accidentally clicked on it yesterday, because I have two of them in here, I noticed that we were respecting the weekly level in here, and this was the one that we got to bounce off of the last time. This is the last long that I initiated for Zcash as far as a big swing is concerned. We took a little small one in here somewhere and talked about another opportunity in here, but this was where the VWAP is located at right here. So for Zcash, if it does lose, I know that this is the final level that Zcash could lose. I know this here, this 198. If Zcash was to come down here and lose this right here, it's completely nuking. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of important levels down through here for Zcash. Right now, I'm not mad at what I'm seeing holding here. Uh, it might still go. It might still go. Unless this is a one, two, three, four, and then five. Like I said, we'll put it back at that VWAP. And the VWAP I don't have on here. At least I don't think I have it in this one. I know I have it in the other chart. I do have it in the other one. So before I start drawing a new VWAP, I just go to the other chart. And there's no space. There's nothing in between here, as far as I'm concerned, that would stop Zcash from moving up higher. I think the only thing Zcash capped when it came right here. And if I just use this first one right here and pull this in, no, it's not even golden pocket on it. So yeah, it hasn't even tapped that golden pocket. It doesn't. It only raises it up a little bit more if I pull it from over here, but it hasn't even tapped that golden pocket just yet. I am still holding the remainder of this trade that I have in from here. I didn't take that extra profit off, and I should have, but I did not. And let's see, this other Zcash that I have in here is the one that I use, which doesn't have my weekly levels on it. It's this one. This is the one where we knew that we were going to get the breakdown because it had a ascending broadening formation, which is bearish. But that's the VWAP where the long was taken at for Zcash. This was the SFP setup idea because if you took it, you were just smart enough to make your own decision. It has nothing to do with me. because I didn't take it. It was just an idea here for an SFP here. Initial bounce came from a 2.168 right here. This one, and then there was another 2.168 bounce in here as well, which was from this level right here. Got another 2.618 bounce right there. So I don't know, I like 2.618. um, but this is just here simply because it's close to VWAP. This low right here, it's close to VWAP. So if something like that did happen, then be looking for that. But right now, a little rejection from the 382, which if it doesn't get back up above that, then I would consider that to be bearish. Now you use this right here. Now I'm okay. I'm okay with the idea of an inverse somewhere like right in here. I'm just not okay if we're at all-time highs and we're putting in inverse. I don't like that. I don't like that. But I'm okay if this was to become something of that nature, to finish getting that move up, to at least play out the to the golden pocket or something like that. Um, let's see if there's anything in here that. Oh gosh, you have to ignore that line that's cutting through here. I gotta fix that. I gotta get that off of here. It's time frame specific. This looks pretty good. Like it could, give a continuation, move up. I mean, even if it's just back into these lows in here, it still has more room to go. Now, if that turns into an inverse head and shoulders, then that'll be something else. I don't see anything through here that, yeah, yeah. It won't go too far, and then it'll squeeze and get some sort of a break to the downside. If this does what I expect for it to do, which it typically does. Now there are times when I have to drop. You notice I had not been using this particular style of this indicator right here in a little while, because market conditions can make a difference. Can make a difference. But I could tell that this was a squeeze right here for a break to the upside. This right here, if it comes back, squeezes back up, probably by the time it gets into golden pocket 786, if anything in here moves, that would be a squeeze that would indicate it would break to the downside. This was a squeeze that indicated a break to the downside. Let's see if there's another squeeze in here. Let's see how we're doing with the squeezes now. That's a squeeze or break to the upside. So we're back on point with the squeeze and the breakdowns. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this indicator live. Keep it live. So that's what we'll be looking for if it does get this move in here, which looks pretty decent right now. It looks decent right now. Let me see what we're looking like on bearish divergence. Let me make sure this doesn't travel with me. Let's see, Bitcoin is getting a little bouncy there. Little bouncy there. Let me see if I want to take this Bitcoin, because I've been waiting to get something in Bitcoin, another long position. Let's see a reason for me to want to. Hold on. Hi, Loza. You gave some money back to the market today. What were you trading? Oh my gosh. Yeah, this looks like it might be a pretty decent move up, but I would only expect for Bitcoin to come back into this golden pocket. Let's see. I would only expect for it to get back into this golden pocket, which is our range zone through here. Once we break through here, I'm interested in getting long. I could make the attempt right here since we're so much closer to the bottom. I just hate to keep chopping. Open a position and then, you got to pay the little fees. It's at the resistance right now. I'll let this candle get a reaction. And once it does react, leave a little bit of a wick so I'm not exactly entering at this top, entering at this resistance. Then I think I will open something up right here. I'll take a little small long position right here on Bitcoin. 'Cause right now it's, you can't see it. I don't have it over here. It's about to come into the 20th of May with these goals in here. Yeah, I definitely wanna I mean, a gray bar doesn't mean that it gives much. Again, it can just be back here to this golden pocket. So yeah. Hey, I have to wait. So for myself, once I see a reaction and this candle pulls back enough, maybe even just back to this one right here, then I'll take a small long position on Bitcoin. And the only time these signals are any good is when it's not expanding. Most of them anyway. When it's not expanding, then these work just fine. When it is expanding, I don't really trust them that much. But when it's not expanding, see how this one right here didn't work, and it really doesn't mean anything. All it is just price action reclaiming back into the standard deviation. That's all it is. It's really just that simple. But I don't trust all of them when I see them, and I know what to look for when I'm looking at it too. Like, this is a good one. I can say that this is a good one right here. But again, it'll probably be just back into this golden pocket and nothing more than that. And this is the same thing we went through yesterday with the golden pocket right here. I didn't facilitate a short here. I have a short position open um, on Bitcoin, which so I didn't need to open up a new one. And I just figured yesterday too that Bitcoin could probably make one more attempt. And I wanted you to get the best position. I did see yesterday though that we weren't going to get past that golden pocket, but nonetheless, yeah, it had to be a decision that you made on your own to take the short from the 3 taps into the golden pocket. It was just 2 when I was on stream, and then this drop right here happened, and then it came back and it hit it one more time, and then that, um I remember looking at this part right here and saying, "Man, I'm not interested in that right there, not this bounce right here." It just wasn't the bounce to take, for the long position. Then you get stuck thinking you about to go higher, and then you get the rest of this, but this isn't bad. It would just be into here. MACD is I'm gonna flip right there. 'Cause I did one yesterday, a little long position, but I got stopped out. I took, um, I think it was off of this over here. I took a long position from right here, and then, it started to play out a little bit, and then, I ended up being stopped out. Was it here? Yeah, I think it was right there. I have the receipt for it, and I'll show you how I got stopped out of it. So nothing major. My stop loss was moved to break even. Once price moves away from me enough, and I just set things to break even. What is this? I have no idea. I have no idea what, like I said, I have no idea what this thing is talking about. Alright, and this is very minor because it was set to, entry. That was the loss right there. It was 95, 350. So it was right in here. It was right in here where I took the loan at, off of here. It started to move a little bit, but then, eventually we couldn't get past this level in here, and it just came back and stopped it out. So no profits taken off of that. And I told you I closed out my loan from, um, my other loans. Yeah, I closed out my loan from 85. I closed that one completely out. So I don't have that anymore. I did take a new trade. I don't know why, but this was from a different account. But I did close out the one that I had from 85. I closed it out once we got somewhere through here or something. I don't know why I closed it out at 94. What was happening at 94? I don't know why I didn't hold it for longer, but I closed it out. You know what? I closed it out, and more than likely, I tried to do that short over here. That's what it was. I closed it out, and then I tried to do this short over here, and I was telling you about that because I got stopped out on that, um, and I couldn't pull up the card to show you, but I re-entered the short. Um, I entered the short in here somewhere. In here, I know I didn't take the top. I know I didn't. I entered it somewhere in the midpoint. It could have even been like this right here. Probably would have been a better entry for me, but I know that I entered my short positions. I don't know, it's somewhere in here. Let me see how bad it is before I show you how bad that is in my entry. I should have been trying to take that short day yesterday again because I know I said if it came back up there, I was going to add to that position. Probably not the best entry. I'm not sure. Yeah, this was a better entry if I'd have taken that to be had, but I was cool with it. Uh, no, that's my new long. My new long is from 90,000, and I told you about that one. This is that short. So yeah, I didn't. In fact, I might have entered the short over here, and that's why I can't find that card for it. I might have entered it and added because the price did this crazy pop out of nowhere on me. Instead of me taking the signal that came from the 1 hour and the 4 hour, both gave a top signal for it with the bearish divergence, and I didn't wait on that. And I mean, I can be very premature sometimes. I can give somebody else some good information, but I can be very premature. So you can see I didn't even get into it until like 96.7. And it was from over here. It wasn't from over here. It was from over here. So a little premature on my entry, which again, I do that sometimes. Sometimes I want to do that. Even if I'd have waited on this signal right here, I would have been more at the top than what I did. Uh, yeah, I think that that's what happened. But I've already taken profit off of um, that short. I'm taking some profit off of it. The rest of it I'm leaving in here, and I would be interested in adding if for some reason price not the muscle. to make the move up before it finishes correcting to the downside. All right, here we go. Still holding up in here. Again, I don't see a reason why we would leave this zone just yet. This could be something that's active until market opens. I would basically apply the same theory that I used when I took the loan for 90,000, which was it was I don't know, where did the 90,000 loan come from? Oh, we took that together on stream. I'm sorry. That's where that came from. It was given my indicator flashed off a signal, and that's the same loan. Yeah, that's that loan right there. That same loan. I'm still holding that same loan, which I don't have that on today because I mean it worked pretty good right now in this range of market. I'm still critiquing it, so I'm just kind of leaving it alone. Let me see what Lowe's gonna say it to. Too many trades, directional on nearly everything. You using moving averages? Are you Lowe's? Are you using moving averages to see what your trend is? I'm gonna pop you. Either the trend was right and you knew it and you were stubborn because you're a really good analyst. The trend must have been right and you were being stubborn, and that was the problem. I know you know your direction. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens first with Zach. Zach, Zach, Zach. There's really no update for me to give on like XRP and SUI. I don't see that anything has actually changed from here on those. ADA, nothing's changed. Hyperliquid, boy, I tell you, it just won't cooperate. You weren't using your eyes today. We're sideways right now. What were you trading again? Oh, this is the thing that I was gonna share with everyone, because with iBit, um, I kept looking at this. Now, the details have not updated today on this, but this is also why I got interested in that short position as well. Along with everything else, this is like the highest strike right here. So when price got here to the highest strike, and what usually happens, wherever the highest strike is, they will start to pin price there. So this highest strike, when we looked at it for that 55, it was, yeah, I think it was 55, not 55, 50. When we looked at that, um, I have to put this back over here so I can see. Um, hold up. Jeez. Gotta put this on Bitcoin. All right. So yeah, when we looked at the strike, we looked at a 53.51, and that was just the next strike price. But the highest one, it was the 55. Yeah, just at 55, correct. The highest strike was like 55. There's really no incentive, as you can see from that other chart, for market makers to keep pushing price higher right through here. There really is. Not that it can't, but there really is no incentive right now to keep pushing price through. We talked about this golden pocket right here as being the zone that we were gonna be looking at on the Bitcoin chart as well. I'm sorry, just the decentralized Bitcoin. And so, yeah, there's really I can't think of a reason why there's incentive for market makers to push beyond here right now. If anything, they just keep us relatively close until those strike prices will end today. If anything, they keep us pinned kind of close around it, maybe even revisit it, which is why I think that we still have that chance to come back up here again. And then I have to think about what I'm going to do with that short position. Um, but there's no incentive beyond this as far as I can see. I did drop in a 56 on here, just because that's what comes behind, and that's usually how they mark them off like that. But really, I don't see an incentive to be beyond here because how much money, I mean, how much trading is actually existing beyond the largest strike? And so we've just kind of been back and forth and coming back up to it, coming back up to it. And that's basically what we've been doing. Come down a little bit, go back up to it, come down, go back up to it, come down. Not a lot of incentive past this part of the gap. That's what I usually look at. I haven't done it too much here lately. So when you look at something, just a prime example, when you look at something like NVIDIA, you see like this, see how if you trade NVIDIA, you know that NVIDIA, I think on my chart, I may have deleted them. I may have. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bitcoin's chart. I'm trying to see if I still had my strike prices in here. No, I deleted my strike prices, but at one point that was how I had it set out on my chart, just to kind of identify where the largest strike is. It's 189. It's actually been 190 for the longest. Has been the highest strike price for Nvidia, and you'll notice that Nvidia it came up to that level quite a few times. Uh, I even tweeted on it a few times about that 190, but not really doing anything beyond that. Beyond that point, so the largest ones is what I would usually go with, and then you have the 185. So it tends to get pinned closer to that price target than not. If you share this chart right here, I took my strike prices off, so this may not be the best example. If I did, um, I know I still have the strike prices up for Circle. I do still have them up for Circle, so I'm gonna do Circle instead because I really can't. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you the best example. Let me do the one for Circle. The Circle is a great example. This is the circle chart, and you can see how we respected these exact levels multiple times. Like this, these have been our rejection, rejection, support level, rejection. This has been it right here because these have been the strike prices that I've been using for circle right here. So we've just been kind of trapped through here. Just market makers has been keeping price pinned through here. Yeah, we're starting to get to where we might break this trend line over here, but yeah, that, and then if I go, relax for freaking short, good gracious, and I can see I need to update them too. You can see I need to update them. Okay, what happened? Um, I apologize. I don't even know what I did again. All right, I can see that I need to update these levels, but if you take a look at circle in here, so like 80, 78. This is how I will mark them out on my chart. 80, 78. This would be important to me. I might even do this one right here. I tend to try to go with the larger ones, but sometimes wherever my gamma line would cross through, I go with that. But 75, and then of course I find one over here on this side of here, so 85. So then when we look back at circle, you can see how those numbers are the ones that I have lined out in here. Now I don't have the 78 in here because I have been using 80 instead, and then the 75, and then the 90. Because if those are the biggest strike prices, that's where your volume is at, and that's what prices tends to come to back and forth to those areas right there. More volume there, more money is sitting in those areas. So they're levels to be hit. So I don't really see the incentive beyond that point right now for Bitcoin. If you understand what I'm saying, I really don't see the incentive for that. This is the very small long, and my stop is going to be this right here. Since, let me see, did it took out this low right here? I just want to make sure if it took out this low. It did take out that low. And I don't think that this comes past this. So it's a crappy trade. It's really a crappy trade. I can always pull this in for adjustment. Since it was based on this candle, I can say I really don't want it to come back down below this candle right here to kind of minimize the risk on it. Which is only a 0.13, which isn't bad. It's not bad. Because when it moves away enough for me, I'm setting it to stop break even. I'm setting it to break even because it's really, I don't know when or if it's going to break. Let's see. Maybe wanting to break to the upside. That would be cool. We get that. And this gets stretched out a little bit more. Just waiting for it to make that decision. Go ahead and risk a few dollars. the hopes that I can stretch this up. Okay, we're just coming into our 20 SMA right now. Okay, BTC. Yeah. Lola, you know you're supposed to have been shorting, looking for a short opportunity over anything else yesterday, especially when we were so close to the resistance on Bitcoin. We're still kind of close to it right now, but it is a couple of thousand. Well, yeah, $2,000 away from that resistance right now. You FOMO'd into that bounce that it got yesterday. Is that what it was? I know you said today, but we're sideways right now. Sideways can be hard. This has to be clean. Let's get back in, get back above that 20 SMA right here too. We need that because I know that we're hitting the 20 SMA on that 15 minute as well. If we're not reclaiming this 20 SMA, then that setup is going to be completely wrong. Completely wrong. And we could find ourselves in here a bit lower, but that's what stop losses are for. Oh, it's 1:20 a.m. New Zealand. I want to move to New Zealand. I want to move from Georgia. I do. I want to move from Georgia. I like Florida, but I don't like gators. So I'm gonna be a little afraid of that. Um, Texas. These are places I would live in the United States anyway. Texas, I like Texas. I just know that when it rains in Texas, I know it rains quite a bit. Nice weather as far as temperature wise, but it rains quite a bit. So floods happen quite often from what I see. Those are really the only two states for me in the US, aside from where I'm at now. Outside of the US, um, there isn't a lot of places I can think of, but New Zealand is one. Um, Maybe Panama. Panama would be another one, I guess. Yeah, Panama. And there was, someplace I was looking at. I used to pull up, like, the statistics, like, for the, I've only ever been to New York in the States for a week, about 15 years ago. Ooh, please don't go back to New York now. Please do not go back to New York now. I would not go to New York. A bunch of crazies in New York, a lot of crazy stuff, just randomly setting people on fire on I mean, like, I know that the media is only gonna report the bad news. I know that, but it's working for me. It's working for me. Oh, Canada was the other place I used to wanna live, but I don't know about Canada anymore, but, I liked Canada when I was there, so, and that was a couple of years ago. It's a little different now. No, New York, ugh. Georgia really is no different, better for cost of living, over New York, but it's really not. Like, I was just saying how I'm so glad that we don't have a gas car. That going to gas stations is scary. It's really more like the West Side, but going to gas stations, like, I haven't heard anything about, you know, a shootout at a electric car, charging station. But gas stations, phew, and you're just there, just getting caught up in the situation. I live in a high-end area, but it's not the same anymore. Nothing's the same when you have public transportation there. Nothing. Alright, come on, Betty. Let's see Tron back in action. I haven't looked at Tron in a minute, but, I can see that it's, back in action a little bit in here. Okay. It took a long time for Tron. I remember talking about it and where I thought the price action would come back to. It didn't even hit it. Came close. Came close. But no, yeah. Smoke is not the same as fire, I was looking for it to get back down into here, but that didn't happen. Had a break, a failed breakout, it looks like, and then went sideways a little bit. I mean, that's the best. To be honest with you, that is the best. Rounded bottoms, I like rounded bottoms. They're slow and they make you wanna give up. They bore you out because 'cause they're slow. But rounded bottoms are nice. I don't like cup and handles, but I like rounded bottoms. And then rounded tops, which you don't have right here, but rounded tops are slow and you think you're still going up and they catch you off guard. But I like a rounded bottom. When you have a trend line, it attempts to break it, its swing fails and it starts going sideways. That's exactly what Bitcoin did. Broke that first trend line that it had. Um, Looked like it gave, or actually it did. It did a swing fail pattern, and then it just went sideways until it finally got the break to the upside. Those are the best. Trend lines won't show it to you. Moving averages will. You'll see it faster like that anyway. Let's see what we got in here. Yeah, because this was the confirming trend line down through here. It started to rise away from price action, from the trend line. It started to move away from the trend line. That'll usually do it too. So Tron, making a comeback. LL Cool J song just popped up in my head. Mama said, "Knock you out." I like this. Way to go. Tron. Might come back and try some Tron. Why, Loza? Why? I'm really gonna pop your hand. No. We cannot long support. Resistance. We cannot long resistance. You did that today? No, you talking about this peak over here. I'm assuming you're talking about these peaks over here instead. This one is over here. So, number one, I talk about the RSI and not considering it to be oversold and overbought, but consider it to be in strong momentum because it's relative strength as an RSI. It indicates relative strength of the trend. But still, when the RSI gets up there like that, the mindset of other people or the masses is going to be, I need to short it. Initially, that mindset of I need to short because we're overbought on the RSI will give price squeeze because it's creating liquidity. But at some point, it will get the break to the downside. More than likely, it is the place to really look for divergence, especially with Bitcoin. Bitcoin tends to put in bear divs when it gets above 80. I took those notes out of here, but I do believe that when it gets above 85, I'll make sure I still have a table in here for it. Yeah, I do. So I did this little thing right here where I was just studying what it does. So on average, Bitcoin comes to about 74.53. That was what it was. So about 75. Let's just say on average, Bitcoin's RSI to the upside is going to hit 75, and to the low side, if I round this off, I'm going to say 25 because that's a 4, so 25. You're going to get more winning trades if you play it like this right here, and it's only coming to around about here, 25, 25, 75. That's it. 70-30, you'll probably get more scalp positions on the 70-30. If you were to try to trade Bitcoin with an RSI somewhere around 79.22, you win some, you lose some. You basically about break even on taking trade setups like that. And when it's above like 82, something like that, you're probably going to have more losses. And the reason why it's a lot more risky, Bitcoin is going to come back up again when it gets that happy. It's going to come back up again, or when it gets this low, it's going to come back down again, because it's impossible. It's almost impossible to straight nuke from those levels. That means your RSI has to, that means you were very euphoric. And when you get that euphoric on your first move down, you're going to create bullish divergence, which sends price back up. And it's the second move back up that gives you the bearish divergence on Bitcoin when that happens. Prime example would be this over here. Now, I know I was premature. I just was. This was it's like 80 something right here on this RSI. So with an 80 something read, like we don't have a pivot in here yet. That's number one. We got no sort of pivot in here. So we need a pivot. We have nothing to say that the trend was broken until we get a pivot, unless we just V-shape recovery, which doesn't tend to be the thing that happens when you have an RSI that high. You got an RSI of 80. You hadn't created a pivot yet when price comes up to here. So now you need to wait for a pivot so you can see when the trend actually breaks. So if I draw a line on that and do it like this, now I have a pivot to draw a line to see when the trend actually breaks. So here the trend actually breaks. Boom. Now I'm correct. But if you don't even have a pivot, you don't have a reason to jump the gun and take the trade. Again, we're all stubborn, and I still do it sometimes too, because my fingers get happy and I will pull the trigger on something. But the reality is, like I said, I would do some crazy crap at times, but I would never tell anybody else the wrong thing to do. You need a pivot. You don't have a pivot, you don't have a trend. You have to create a trend. And candles to the upside is not a trend. Now we got a break. Let's go a step further. Let's see. Why are you doing this to me, Bitcoin? Let's see. Where are we at in here? Yep, this is another good example right here. We're up around about 80 right here again. Now we do have a pivot in here. We're not 80 in here. We're not euphoric enough in here, to say the least, but we already started creating pivots through here. Now this would have just been like, every time strategy is going to give you something, it may not give you everything you want. Sometimes it may not be the absolute end all be all, but you can see that we do have a trend, because we created pivots through here. We got this one, we got this one, we got this one. We created a pivot. Now this is where we started to get euphoric at right here. So this would have naturally been where you set your trend line at. And then you can see it goes sideways for a minute. You can just about see the pattern formation that it makes in here at that point, though. When it breaks it, it came back up and it back tested it. Yeah, you would have, maybe had your stop somewhere, maybe where you would have got stopped out of something like that. This is kind of high over here. So yeah, the risk is there because of how high this wick is over here. But after that back test, you did end up getting the drop down right here. So that's another good example right there. Bitcoin trying to kill me. All right, let's see. I want to stick to the upside for now. Johnson Euphoria. Oh, here's one right here. You don't have a pivot yet. So the RSI is extremely high. We don't have a pivot yet. So we don't have a trade to really take right here until we create a pivot. But once we get our pivot, then we can put our line on top of it. Now, we'll be looking for price action to break down from here because we have our pivot. This one would have been wrong, but that's one trade out right here. This one would have been, hold on. No, I didn't do that right because I don't cross the line. There we go. I don't cross through candles, so I apologize for that. So I would have said it like this personally. Anytime I can see that I'm cutting through candles, I don't do that. So this would have been correct. And yeah, nothing to do here because we're respecting the trend. You come back, you back test that trend line. It broke to the upside on it. This would have been the break right here. So this would have been where price action is breaking. Now, you don't absolutely have to be a trend breakout trader. For sure, you don't have to be because sometimes price action will come back test the breakdown before it gets continuation to the downside. But it's generally where you break a trend at that makes a difference. So maybe you would have made this one. Maybe you wouldn't. Let's see. We need the confirmation. 1, 2 candles outside of it would have been going in, one down there, one here, probably would have been something like this. Just to be even extra on it, we'll do it like this. What is that risk? Maybe you like to go for a 1. Sometimes I will put it at a 1. It just depends on how big my trade is going to be. And then I try to aim for 3, which, even though you're aiming for 3, sometimes you just have to take your money. I'm not going to get this perfect. So I'm going to just leave it like that because I'm not going to get it perfect. It worked. So invalidation would be, I suppose the invalidation would be price action coming back inside of here. It's better when they sit a little bit closer. You can trend follow and do something like this, which I'll do. While you'll see a lot of lines on my chart, I will trend follow and do something like that because that can be done right here. So I will trend follow. If I'd have trend followed right here on this one, if I'd have trend followed on this one by doing this, I wouldn't have got much, and I would have seen how close we were to this trend line right here too. So I would have taken it thinking, okay, if we break here, if we break this trend line right here, then I'm gonna get more than what I'm expecting. But this likely would have been a TP1 right here. So you can trend follow, which is what I do, which is why you see all these lines going across my chart like this. That's why I do this to follow the trend. And every time price action jumps up and leaves a gap, and comes back in, that's my new trend line. And I'll do this all the way up until I hit a breaking point. And like I said, unless you take the trends inside of, you know, in here, the minor trends, you can take the minor trends, TP1, but just the minor trends, because otherwise, that's a minor trend right here as well with that pivot. But I know my larger trend is here. And until we break our larger trend, then chances are price action can still come up. And so from here, I'll be looking for the next pivot that Solana is going to put in. If Solana comes up, let's say it gets a nice swing to the upside here, and it does something like this and does a few candles down like this, and then comes back up. It doesn't have to come up this high anymore. It just comes up a little bit. And I know that's my trend. I'm looking for that break. I know that's my minor trend. I know this is my These are gonna be my major trend levels through here. They're longer over time. And if I'm not putting it on price action, I'm putting it on the RSI. Um, and if we need to inverse, we can inverse. This trade isn't based on that, but if we need to inverse, we can. Just so we can see the chart better because we're so used to longing. Yes, markets are up way more than they're down. Stochastic RSI, index RSI. Is there one? Um, Not necessarily. They both measure momentum. Stochastic RSI measures more of momentum than strength of a trend. RSI is gonna measure more the strength of the trend, but they're both still momentum indicators, so it's not really a big difference between them. The same way there's not really a big difference between, MACD and RSI because 'cause they're both a momentum indicator. MACD is less whipsawy, um, it's a lot smoother, so I tend to use both of them. I don't use the stochastic though, not the stochastic RSI. And I used to use the stochastic alone, which they just give different names for it, but they're all basically the same. If it's a momentum indicator, it's a momentum indicator. If it's about relative strength, then might be slightly different. And I know the RSI is more. It's about momentum and relative strength of the trend. You use stochastic RSI, I'm assuming. I don't. Yeah, I really don't like this one. I really don't. I know a lot of people trade it, just saying if it's down here, then it's gonna go up, and if it's up here, then it's gonna come down. The thing I can say I do like about it is that the only thing I can say I do like about it is that like it measures the swings as well. So this isn't given a lot. Apparently, it came up here way too fast. So you can see how we're kind of going sideways. That's about the only thing for me, really, is that how much am I moving within my trading range compared to, coming up to what are they using? 80/20, I'm assuming. Yeah, so they're using 80/20 on this right here. But I can see that from here too, and I can see that from the 50, and we're only managing to come around the 50. I don't know that I don't really like this that much. But there's not a big difference between the 2 of these other than my ability to plot my trend lines and see trade, like, see pattern formations and things like that. You're gonna see it a lot easier on the RSI than you're gonna see it in here. You're not really gonna see those patterns that could be building up through here because you can get patterns on here, falling wedges, rising wedges, broadening formations, head and shoulders, all of that will show up in the RSI. You're not really gonna get that right here, on this right here. So this trade absolutely lost momentum. We'll drop the signal line on this. Don't want that. Drop that for now. I just want to see something. I don't usually study this one. I don't use something until I've studied it. Let's see. This is the chop. I would have tried it once, probably just looking at it like this. I would have tried it once, fails. Maybe I would have considered. There's no strategy from what 100%. Just say I did reconsider it right here, and then I reconsidered it again right here. That would have been right, but I definitely will reconsider it. And let's drop the trend line on it, which sometimes this is not the first thought. This one crossed up right here, and this one right here. So winner, winner, two L's. Really, yeah, two L's down through here before the winner, and then this one right here, but it doesn't give much. Let's go a step further. Really want it to be outside. I might have to change the parameter from just in the current condition. Let me change the parameter, make it a little bit better. Right now, I never like the original settings on anything, which is why I go back and change stuff. Boost divergence on this one. That would have been the only pickup on this one right here. But it's at major lows. In fact, this is where we took that long position from, the one that I'm still holding right now, is from here. And I actually entered over here. I wasn't invalidated, and therefore, because this right here was when market opened, and it did this shady stuff right here, and then it started running up. So Nice bottom catch right there again. So let's see. This is based on, what did I change this to? 10. And especially if I can see that something is continuously breaking the upside, I want to change it because that's not, yeah. Over time, so many people are using it. It just doesn't work the same way anymore. Winner, 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 trap on this one right here. Would it start to move? And then it comes back in. This one right here, same situation. Nothing's 100%. So the indicator by itself can throw out a bunch of winners, winner, but trend line with the indicator is going to be the best bet for it. But it has a lot of potential, a ton of potential. You need to drop those trend lines with it. 100 might be a little bit too capped on this one. So Bitcoin again is one of those bear div situations on Bitcoin. So the first one where it comes up, that's another thing with this too, which I like because that's when you know you're bearish. If I have a parameter set like this, and yeah, usually like I said, when it gets this high, the Bitcoin is going to put in a bear deal. My first move, I really don't need to do anything with this one. I don't even have to pivot. So then I draw a line because now I have a trend. You don't have a trend until you have a pivot. So now I draw a line looking for a trend change. And that would have did it with this one right here. Stochastic wasn't able to rise up as high as it did before, and that's usually what follows behind on it. This one I wouldn't have done because it didn't come up there. It's just another bear deal to it. Whether or not I'm going to hold that trade or let that trade go in that moment. This chart right here. I don't think either one of these actually crossed above it, but there's no reason to take another trade because you're already in this one. So no reason to take another trade. If you took this one, there's no reason to take this one. You let this one finish playing out. So you just left a runner on the table. No need to change to take anything else right now. And all of these are kind of flat relative to the high over here. Anyway, it's not really surpassing the 100, which is cool. We want the pivot, and we did this one already. So yeah, we want to make sure we have the pivot first, and then we know, okay, we're going to get some sort of a corrective move. So 100 might be a little bit too smart for it. This one is on the 100. Let me change it to 99. I just don't want to catch anything else with it. No, because then I'm gonna be enticed with those other ones. I'm gonna leave it on 100, and then I could just read it off the sidelines if it does. Leave it at 100. This could probably be changed though. This is 10. I like 10, but it can probably be changed. So whatever is hitting the most. I did 5. I might be able to do 5. I did 5 instead because stochastic gets pretty low on this. That takes this out, and I don't have to worry about trying to get those false moves right there anymore. So I want something more so like that. I'm still gonna catch this. Can't take them all out. That's fine. bullish divvy right here, probably bullish divergence. Yeah, bullish divvy. Like that. Oh, you don't see what I'm describing? Lord have mercy. Thank you, Loza. Oh, sincere, you let me know. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Loza was asking me about the RSI and the stochastic RSI, and I just changed the parameters on it because I was saying I don't like using indicators with their default settings. This is the default setting. So reset settings. This is the default settings on the stochastic RSI. I don't want to use it like this. I don't want to use the trend line. I'm sorry, the smoothing. I don't want to use that either. And so I just took that off. I took out the background just to kill the background for no reason whatsoever. I changed it from 80. I don't want 80. I can see already. Hold on, before I change it from 80, I can see already that it stays above that. Clearly, it stays above this a lot, a lot. So 80 can't be right. That's just the default. I'm gonna push it to 100. I can see clearly it stays below 20 a lot. I set it for 10 initially. Even 10 it still runs below 20. I mean, runs below 10 a lot in here too. I pushed it for a 5 instead, but I can run off of the 10 too, off of the 10 too. So I was just showing how when we get down in here, you'll get a lot of winning trades in here. Nothing's going to be 100%. Sometimes you will get sometimes you will get a trade that just doesn't play out. But I was just highlighting how many times, if I'm down below 10, I'm waiting for this to cross back above 10. And crossing back above 10 is going to be right here. This is the point where it crosses back above 10 right here. This one didn't cross 10. This one did, but no need to overtrade and try to catch every one, but just examples of how something might give you some sort of a trade setup. This one right here, it crossed above 10 right here, and then you can see how it did not go too far. It just didn't do it before it flipped back down this level in here. But I was saying how you don't have a trend unless you have a pivot anyway. So you don't have a trend unless you have a pivot. If you have internal stuff, you will have internal stuff like this. So this just increases the chances that that what you're taking is going to be correct. If you were looking for just taking longs, to say my trend is up and I'm looking to take longs, you're going to win it more anyway if the trend is up and you're looking to take longs. This right here would have been a situation where, let's just say I wanted to enter on that. It would, I didn't have any line through here already. So I had nothing to go off to even consider taking a long position just because it was below this 10 in here. And it came back up to 10. So the momentum mean reverting, that's all this trading is mean reversion, right? But there was nothing in here for me to assume that I should take a long off of this anyway, because there was no trend through here. Yeah. I would have taken it there, I would have got it wrong. I would have seen the swing fail right there from the stochastic. I probably would have attempted it again. No lie. I would have attempted it again right here. And then it failed. And then I would have tried it again when it came back up for the last time. And I finally would have got it right. But before I do all that, next time just drop a trend. Maybe I reconsider where I need to take my entry at. And instead of me taking this one right here, I can say, okay, I'm just gonna wait for it to break above this trend line at this point. And then that would have happened. And that would have worked out. And these smaller ones that are through here, but this just makes you overtrade. It starts to get better because we get down here and we can see that we drop in 10 and we crossing back up 10 right there. We drop 10, we cross back up 10 right here. This one is really pretty. It's not choppy. It's just pretty. I like that one. This is the trade that we took on live. Um, and even though we put in that bullish divergence, we came back up right here because the signal fired off right here too. So this was when market opened and all of that stuff happened. But if you catch a winner, you just catch a winner. You don't need to keep trading. That's a trade that I'm still holding. That's a nice freaking trade. And they need to take another one. This would have been Chop City again right here. That's why I said I can move this parameter because I can see how much is coming below 10. Where's it? Where's the average at? Is more so something I want to do. Like, what does momentum usually reverse at? There is this one that worked for a nice little move up. 50 is also a mean reversion, so sometimes you're just gonna get it into that. I don't really like this. If it can swing down low enough, you know, underneath it, I like it a lot better. And I was just saying how at the tops in here, Bitcoin is gonna put in a bear div. It's just gonna happen. If my stochastic is getting this high, I'm waiting on my pivot because you don't have a trend until you have a pivot. So then I have a pivot right there. I have a pivot now. And you can draw internal structures to follow the trend, but otherwise you didn't have anything through here. And then you can see, of course, how Bitcoin puts in the bearish divergence. I think this high. And I was thinking that how it's higher than that one. It's not moving past this 100 though. That's for sure. Might have to change that from the 100. I just know 80 is not the answer. 80 is not the answer. This one is worth taking for short. I just know 80 is not the answer. This one actually literally hit the 100 mark. Otherwise, you're waiting on a pivot to make that decision about taking that entry. Or you have your pivot on your indicator, which is the other thing I like to use. If you don't have a pivot in here, you got to have a pivot in here, but you have to have a pivot. Otherwise, you don't have a trade, which probably would have saved. Where was it at? Probably wouldn't, but would have took one less trade off of this right here if I wasn't drawing a line across here. There was no line. There was nothing to draw a line on before price action came to here. This is the signal right here. Yeah. So before price action, before we did, when we made this rise back up, we had nothing here. It was just this candle right here at the low. Then the RSI on stochastic came up and created that pivot, but there was nothing there beforehand. So there was nothing to assume that structure break for the upside was about to happen because there was nothing there. And if I'd have waited at least on the RSI too, if I waited on the RSI, I would have took one less trade. I probably I wouldn't have had to take this first one. I don't know why they did that. I wouldn't have taken this first one. I would have took this one and got it wrong. And then this one and finally got it right. So I would have just been down one trade as opposed to two trades. Yeah, that's just the way it goes sometimes. But I don't like that 80-20 setup here on this. I know 100 is where it's absolutely capping out at, so I might have to move it from that 100. But I'd rather see it come up and touch that and then say, hey, the stochastic is extremely high. Stochastic couldn't go up any higher, and therefore it's going to put in a bear div because it couldn't go up any higher. In this time frame, 15 minutes may not be the best time frame for it. One hour looks good. I like it for the 1 hour. But it can definitely go below At 20, default setting of 20, that's just not yeah, the default setting of 20, that's not gonna do it. I think it's, they got 0 is the absolute low before it can't go any lower. Yeah, so 0 is the absolute low before it can't go any lower. 0, 0, 0, 0, and then bullish divergence coming in, 0, 0, even this is 0. Well, yeah, 80/20, we're not gonna be able to do 80/20. That's interesting. That is interesting. And that was because it was putting in bullish divergence. It's all the way at the bottom. It's bear dipping. Okay. So if my stochastic is sitting all the way at the bottom and price action is still going up, then I'm putting in bear dips. I think I like it. Anything that can show me something different, I like it. I like it. Bullish divergence through here. The price was coming down and stochastic was all the way at the high. If I use this for nothing else, I will use it for that. But not on 80/20. I don't like 80/20. I never, studied the stochastic RSI before. I need to do a little bit more studying on it, but it's not bad. I guess I'll sit here and play with it. Dream Tanks TV! Yeah, Hakanashi candles, I like them, but I can't read my candles properly if I'm using them. But Hakanashi, it does help with the trend direction a lot more. It just prevents somebody like me who likes candle patterns, from being able to see them. Yeah, I like this, stuff like the RSI. We got three means in here, as like we do with the RSI itself, which is wherever. I mean, and for default, it's 80, and then of course your 50, and then whatever you set this to. That is just the absolute low. You can't see a mean reversion if it's at the absolute low, just like you can't see the mean reversion from here. And the signal line really doesn't make a difference, to be honest. Um, it really doesn't. The signal line actually slows you down. You can use it to confirm the momentum shift, but if you're taking the trade based off of it, it's slowing you down. Obviously, like right in this section right here, the mean is 50. It's either going to break 50 or it's not. So if you're using the signal line, I would be using it in a way to say, okay, I can see the momentum turn back up. And price action will show you that too, and that we're holding 50, because otherwise it'll be a break below 50. And this is pretty good right here. I like that right there. Which you probably could have said they gave you earlier in the mean revert that took place right here. Or when this finally broke 50 because it wasn't breaking 50, it would have been, you can always do one candle after. Or three rejections all at the same high. Three rejections all at the same high. Trend line, which I would have had it like this. Right here. And unfortunately, it doesn't drop low enough, but yeah, a little sideways. Well, how bad this would have been. Just can't slow the camera for you. Yeah, take it from the low of that candle. This would be over trading, to be honest. It's over 50. Because you already would have been in this right here. So left a runner, there will be no need. There's the three. No need to take this one. Same entry though. And if it's a line break, same entry. This is a trashy trade. Rejected from the 20 SMA. And again, I don't think we're coming beyond this golden pocket right here. Just still ranging until market opens at least. Maybe 95. I think I tried 9. I don't know if I tried 90. I don't think I tried 90. I did 95 though. And again, the win rate is going to be good on this thing right here as long as you're using price action with it to make the decision and not just this indicator by itself. It's not shabby. It's not shabby at all. I'm gonna put it back on zero. I want it to the absolute bottom. That's where I wanted it, the absolute bottom. This still would have got me. I'm stuck on this, still getting me. But I'm gonna find what works best. Let's see how this does. It's getting up here pretty fast. So we'll see how this does. Since we're talking about examples. And then we streaming and then this one right here fails, right? We're talking about examples. It is rising very fast, which I don't like. But I'm still thinking that it just comes back here into the golden pocket that has been this range. So range bound trading. We got bull day up down here on it. Um, you know, so we'll see. We got the lower low here on the stochastic, higher low here on price action. Even though it's rising kind of fast, do still have bullish divergence. So maybe only trading bullish divvies would be good. Had a bull div right there. Higher high in price action. Lower high. I'm sorry, a lower low in price action and then a higher low in stochastic. Let's see. We got the bear div right here. We just already played that out because we're range bound. But usually, yeah, when it gets this high, it's gonna put in a div. It's gonna put in a div. When it's this low, it's gonna put in a div. Right here. I didn't even pay attention to that yesterday, but I just knew I wasn't gonna buy this part right here when we got that sell off yesterday because it just didn't look right. But it came back up there. It did put in there did. So if I look at Seoul now, just after taking some of those minor trends and larger trends in my regards, uh, really good stop long, just for example, not taking it. I'll look back at it. I think it has tapped that trend line quite a bit. I don't like I don't like the bear div. So and because of that, I wouldn't want to take a trade off of this trend line. I would assume that, it's going to break this trend line. I don't think the risk to reward is there either because I know that we're at resistance. Like resistance is just a few dollars above our head. So it's just not, um, yeah, it's a few dollars above our head. And it's just bear dived all across here. This entire, all of this, all of that. Like just multiple bearish divs through here, except for when you get here, but multiple bearish divs here at these highs, along with the resistance that's sitting there. I wouldn't be interested in taking a long on it, even if I thought that it could come up a little bit more. Shorts would be the best risk to reward. So if you think of it in terms of risk to reward, the short would be more in favor than long, than long and the resistance, because that's essentially what it would be, long and the resistance. For a scalp, um, still risky. Still risky. Let's see. What's this one right here? It's all the way down there. Mhm. Whatever temporary break it gave, it's already happened. You'll be late. That's just a little temporary break after bouncing off of the trend line. I don't think that buying into this resistance is, yeah, nah, I wouldn't buy into this resistance. Now, all the 1 hours time frames broke through their trend line. I mean, yeah, whatever happened in here has already happened. Just kind of late, especially we talking about the 1 hour. It's already done the breakup right here with that candle right there. But it's at resistance. I'm just gonna keep drilling that at resistance thing. I think that's the biggest thing is at resistance. It's not worth it. At least Bitcoin is a couple of like $2,000 away from that resistance as opposed to Solana. it's already hit this trend line. Let's see, that was what created it. I could have did this right here, just like that. And then that was one bounce, that was okay. That was two bounces, that was okay. I don't think that it yeah, no. I would tell you no. Long from here, sure. Long from here, no. Or long from any one of these pullbacks right here. See, it didn't tap that golden pocket right there. And it dropped in, it tapped this one, and then there's this one. I look at it from where it's sitting now, and that 50. Yeah, you be buying premium. Yeah, you be long in premium. You see this thing steady ticking up. It's moving way faster than price action right now. And this is a trashy trade. We didn't even make it to the golden pocket, and it's already upticked to 91. And it's been stuck battling these lows. Check CVD again. Just like that. Bears again right here. Still put me in bears CVD right here as well. So this is down. And price action is making it. We saw that one high in here. But, and I see this. But too many longs right in here too. Way too many longs, which means The liquidity below it is interesting. And it's a nope. Yeah, coming up a little bit too fast. That's a small little internal bear div right there too. That just created that doji candle right there, right there. But yeah, it's too many loans right here. I'm gonna let it stop me out. Okay, if it stops me out, it's just gonna be an L today. Still up, barely, barely still up, but still up. I think we keep rejecting off of that 20. I thought that's what we were doing. Yeah, instead of rejecting off of that 20 SMA with those lows. And now the golden pocket isn't even an option. So either it holds and squeezes right here for a push up, or it's gonna finish rolling over right here. But let's see. I'm gonna assume it's premature. I'm just gonna assume the top of the Bollinger is dropping a lot faster. That is squeezed and it gets some sort of a little relief bounce in here. That's wrong. I'm already stopped out if it's wrong anyway. And I did not put much on this trade because it's range bound. So I will live. Yeah, squeezing. That usually leads to a break to the upside, but it doesn't mean that it can't get stopped out and then have to re-enter. But that usually leads to a break to the upside. We haven't moved back above 50 yet in here, so we're not in relative strength right now at all. We're still in relative weakness. MACD RSI, I'm sorry, MACD Delta flat. We're just waiting on this market to open. I guarantee it, and then whatever whipsaw price action is going to take place. Still wrestling with that 20 SMA. Might just want to sweep that liquidity. Literally in no trade day. Let's go find some brand new meme coins for some coming that market's dead. I said, what are some new meme coins? I never trade meme coins. Never trade them unless you count pump. That's the only one. I think this does give you like a category. I think it does, unless it doesn't. No, that's market cap. Oh, category dead in my face. Memes. I swear. Pimping. I have only ones I know is Doge, Pepe. Can't say you don't know Trump, Bump, Angle, Floki with Altcoin. No Brett and Melania. I didn't know 8 was a meme coin. I know Turbo. Maybe Doge. This is down quite a bit. Let's find some. Coco is up. Who is up? Coco. Coco is up. I don't want to block our lovely Bitcoin position. Ew. This thing literally has no liquidity. Bear diving is at behind off. No to Coco. What's the good one? Oof. That's bullish divergent. White whale. Oh, let me see if it's divergence from here though. No, not from there. White whale. I don't like this. And the beauty of longing is that you don't have to leverage. We looked at Coco. I looked at this because it looks like garbage. I don't know if I want to short something that's already that low. Nothing with any bullish diversion. I'm just gonna go through them. Doge, literally not a good one. Hold on. Starting to slow down. Starting to slow down. Let's get this. I like these last two little doji candles on it. Look like it might have started to put in some bullish divergence between this drop right here. This might not be bad. I don't want to try to be the bottom catcher. Let's see if that's sufficient. There was two bull deals that didn't play out because we're putting in some bear deals at the same time, but I like it. The most, I mean, this is a 1 hour time frame. I don't know how long that'll take for something like this to play out, but the most conservative thing to do would be to wait for it to just assuming that this is so low and it's not going to come lower, just based on these, the reaction there and the two dojis right here. So looks like bears are unable to successfully push price down any further from this point right here. If that is the case, most conservative is going to be price action coming back above this high right here, coming back above this high, getting some resistance, and then back testing, and then something like this, probably even back to here would be your entry. That's the most conservative position to take. The less conservative would be to play the trend breakout right here. So that's your middle of the road decision would be to play the breakout up here, assuming that it doesn't fail. Because did it fail before? Absolutely. Um, no, it actually didn't break out. I don't know how fast you are when it comes to a breakout. I don't know if you one candle up or two candles outside of it. Kind of late if you're doing two candles outside of it, which would make this a better trade anyway, which is the more conservative trade. And the more aggressive trade would be to take it from here. But your stop, I mean, stop would have to be a whim. Let's just say 0.886 is your stop. That would be the more aggressive entry. I think I like the more conservative, to be honest. It's a 9.22% drop. %. Mm. But it looks like the selling pressure is coming to exhaustion. That I can say. It looks like the selling pressure is coming to exhaustion. Find something that looks a little juicier. PayPay. PayPay looks a little juicier. PayPay didn't even get that far from the last trade I mentioned, which was the fair value gap tap. I'm really not seeing the bullish divergence except for what this is throwing off. Um, I can clearly see the bear divs, which means at some point the bullish divergence will play out. I'd rather see bullish divergence from here. Pay. Already taking out the previous day low. Mm, I don't think I like it. Not for long anyway. And short, just kind of too late, in my opinion, to jump in on it. I can see it's already broken. Like if I did a trend through here, it's already broken down below that. The same way some of the other coins have already done that too. This is the next support level right here for PayPay. At least the last time I had looked at it, it was right here. It's the next support level here. So if it comes back into that, and then let's see if there was anything else in here. And this might, yeah, this would probably be a little bit of a bouncy. Structure would be down, so choosing to take the shorts after it gets the back test again probably be the ideal situation for it. I think I had did that from the daily. I did. System X support. Yeah, I wouldn't know. It's not a good one. Um, I'll wait for price to get down in here. There's really nothing in here. This is what I was talking about yesterday about Bunk. Bunk was down when I heard. Bunk. And look back at bubbles. This river. me check something else. Bubble's got something called River. Let's see about that one. Too late. Big bear div on this. Uh, big wigs. So that's not an option. What's a good one? All right, Loza. I appreciate you. Loki's down, Pango down, whatever that is down. I think Doge is probably like going to be the best opportunity coming up. It's going to be Doge. 'Cause this stuff is down and most of it doesn't have a lot of liquidity. Yeah, that's the daily. This is probably going to be the best trade right here. I will come back to it. Yeah, I will come back to it and see. Even if this first struggles around here, that'd be great too. But this looks like it's going to be the best trade setup. Let's see how it goes. Dogey Doge. See Bitcoin still putting up the good fight. Yeah, I got an alert on it. It goes off. Was this prior resistance before that? No, it's a little bit lower right here. It's prior resistance. We're well above that. The thing I don't like. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say this. I gotta say it again. I really don't like volume profile too much, just because like what you just saw, where it jumps, and then sometimes the higher move and the lower move, because they're not. Yeah, it's static. It reads fixed, but it's so static. When you look at volume, just trying to get this part right here. 94 versus 153. 143. It literally makes 0 cents. Yeah, makes 0 cents. Sure. The most trading did take place right here. Or did it? The most trading took place right here with 148. So more buyers literally stepped in right here, as opposed to the sellers, which is more buyers than the buyers that are sitting right here. This number just upticked to 100. I think that's I got it the same tone. Let's see. Uh-oh, I'm just gonna throw a little green in here versus my down button. Um, Flip it back to the red. The green. Value area. Value up. Value down. And these are buyers versus sellers. If I'm not mistaken, that is in the correct order. I think the front number is the buyers and the back number is the sellers. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. But there was literally more of that. There's more sellers in here. More sellers than buyers. More sellers through here than buyers. More sellers through here than buyers. I never really understood this. That if there are more sellers than buyers, how are we even getting through it is what I always wonder. If there's more sellers than buyers. But that's done backwards. I cannot remember how I had this now. Hold on. I must have a template. X. Yeah. Got the right thing. But I suppose more participation has nothing to do with how much money each participant had, right? Maybe that's what I'm missing with the volume aspect of it. Yeah, still don't like it. Yeah. Few minutes till market opens, like 10 minutes, and then we're gonna get out of here. I'm just trying to see if we are gonna squeeze and break to the upside here, which, like I said, based on this right here, that well, it's not in here, but based on the, I was trying to do it just simply from the Bollinger Band itself. For me, it would imply that it would, but at the end of the day, it can be wrong. Most of the time, it does happen that way. One side is dropping faster than the other side, it typically implies that momentum is cooling off. Momentum is cooling off, and a move is likely to happen, or some sort of a correction from the sell-off, a correction from the pump is about to take place. Is what I what I get from it whenever I'm trading it. if it's going to happen. It'll happen in the next 9 minutes now. Some sort of volatility. They take out this low. I'll reassess, re-enter into position on it. It might come with some additional bullish divergence. Maybe the bullish divergence that's in here right now, it's not enough volume to really reflect that in price action. I still think we get pinned somewhere around the top in here if we're coming back in for that. Today's the last day on those expiries, those options. And so all of the incentive that was up there that's already taken place. Now they will go back again and just kind of pin price or maybe even around max pain, something like that, pinned around max pain for the rest of the day. And I don't know that this is max pain. I can check and see if it's max pain. Um, or at least I can see what max pain was yesterday. I wish the information in here updated. Mhm. And I can compare the two, which that's not it right there either. It's way down lower. Mhm. That's max pain all the way down here. So where we popped up. Max pain is right here where the 20 SMA is at. How about that? So just what we got the break from is where max pain is sitting at. And again, this is such a crappy trade. My position size on this is very small, even though I knew I was looking right here, which if it breaks out, it'll go higher than this. And so because my position size is rather minimalistic, I moved my stop for this low in here. I mean, it got equal lows in here. I figure if it's gonna, what I didn't want it to do is just sweep the liquidity right here and bounce off of that standard deviation. I didn't want it to do that. So I just dropped it down because we haven't really moved far enough away from price just yet from this low. Haven't really moved too far away from this low right now. So if they want the liquidity through here, then they'll have to expand. And then I know it's absolutely wrong. No question of a doubt about it. But if it just wicks through here and takes this liquidity and it doesn't expand, then it just stops me out for no reason and goes in that direction. So I just modified it. If I had more on it, I wouldn't move it. Hopefully that expansion doesn't fail, because this is what I was looking at, but you can see it here too. So hopefully it doesn't fail, but I'm coming into resistance right here. Market is open. I like to see it get a little bit more aggressive. So we're already coming into 2 on this 1 hour right here. We're already coming into 2. We haven't quite made it there yet. Let me actually see this from a 1 hour. I just wanna see the bands. Yeah. Like I said, we was yeah, even 1 is coming into 1 hour time frame was coming into 2 as well. So it's still squeezing. No expansion yet. No release, no expansion of the Bollingers just yet. Maybe in the next few minutes, it'll do it. I don't really need this in here. At this point, I need for it to stay above 20 SMA. If it's not staying above 20 SMA, and have to re-examine this position. It's already a crappy risk reward, unless we got the expansion. It was still sideways. Let's see what it ended up doing right here. Mhm. Delta still positive. MACD just crossed the signal line on the 1 hour. So hopefully it'll hold. Like I said, usually, I mean, a lot of volatility every morning when we first market opens. Lots of volatility. That usually implies that it breaks to the upside. It doesn't guarantee how far up it goes when it does break to the upside. Let's try to play this range. I'm gonna call it a stream. If I'm just gonna leave the stop the way I have it. Like I said, I moved my stop down to here because I don't have that much money in this trade. So it really doesn't affect me if this fails and price comes down here and it takes out this liquidity. If you are more of a scalper and you had a little bit more money in it, your stop probably wouldn't even been this low down here. So and you may have already taken some profit off of it. If not, you don't have to move your stop like I lost mine. It's a small loss for me if it hits me, but if it manages to find some strength, some money, something to keep pushing, it'll remain open, and then I'll actually make some money from it, as opposed to what I would make losing this trade would be nothing. And if it returned to here, then it'll be worth it. So in hindsight, the risk reward is a lot greater. I just like to start them out like this. I usually like to start them out with a 3 to 1, but but this is a cheap trade still. It's just a 0.19 on stop loss. It's not that bad unless you're using a lot of money. It's not that bad for the stop loss. Not great of a gain, but it's not bad for a stop loss. So it's a crappy trade. Lost that 20 SMA, standard deviation 1 being tapped right now. Let's see. It's just going to take out this low if it wants to take out all that liquidity and keep going. That would suck. Yeah, it completely gave that up. That attempt. It'll try it again, though. It will try it again. And I will be here for the chicanery. Let's see. It took that liquidity from this low right here. Yes, it did. Let's see what Ethereum is doing. Same thing, same energy. Solana's on some different energy right now, but 15 kind of sideways. Oh, I mentioned Dash. I have to see what I used on Dash. Make sure that those levels are still leveling. Yeah, I can move. Actually, I'm just gonna drop in 2 more here for Dash. I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna change the color to purple for these next levels that I'm putting in on it. Let's see. 2 times on the liquidity to the downside for Bitcoin. Alright, that will be what it will be. For Dash, I did go ahead and add, like, 3 additional lines in here. I just think that all of this is just kinda crazy, but here it is nonetheless. This makes more sense right here. You got 101 right here, and you got 112 right there, and you saw what the other one is. I'm not believing in this one right here at all. Um, it should be doing, some sort of a mean revert, in my opinion. You got the little slight reaction right there, potential for a head and shoulders right here, but, yeah, wasn't a bad entry. It was a really good entry from here with the double top right there. It's just still not coming back in here, and I did not move these still. I still think that this is still these are still good enough for their position that it might be a slight, very, 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 very slight deviation. You wouldn't even notice it. I didn't notice it when I looked over there at it. So that's what you got to look forward to. If price comes up, short opportunity right here by 101, and then if, take what you get and move stop loss to break even. So if it comes back for you, you're out. Maybe look for something double tapping it twice again or something like that. But these two would make sense, 101 and 112 for any sort of continuation to the upside here for Dash. Otherwise, it should. Oh, it's just not coming back in here. Come back in here. At least just come back into here. But that's all I got for you. I appreciate you for hanging out with me. Keep up the good fight. It is Friday. Less liquidity in the market. So don't overtrade. Yeah, don't overtrade. Hold on, this just updated. Let me check on this gamma. This gamma. Yeah. All right. I am available this weekend, so I figure out what time I'm going to stream. Maybe be a little less volatile, and we can range trade a lot better than what we're getting today. So see you later. Appreciate you. Possible loan back up to 95 area. For Dash, sincere. Yeah, it's still so overextended though. It is so overextended through here. But that's the same thing that I dislike about Zcash. This was a bear div all through here, which is common because it's so overextended that it has no choice but to put in bullish divergence for another push to the upside to the bear div. I if I had caught it early enough to be in a short, like from that level right there, I would still be holding it to take out these lows down here. Because the first time fail unless it does three drives, unless it does 3 drives. It's probably rejecting from 20 SMA. 20 SMA rejection right there. So it's below the 20 SMA right now. It can get a little bit more. I think it comes back into this 71, but somewhere down in here. I know. Okay, Bitcoin went a little bit lower and taking that liquidity. I know I said I was leaving. I told you, you come here, I tell you I'm gone about 50 times before I'm gone. You said 95, huh? I trust your analysis. You are my financial advisor. Sincere. Maybe that would be another short chance. I don't know. Um, yeah, that seems overkill. I'm gonna give it a shot. If it comes up here, I'm gonna definitely give it a shot. I'll look at it and see if that is the short to be taken. I like it. It didn't put in. That's what Bitcoin did the other day too, with the kind of tweezer top right there. Let me see if I can't do that. Yeah, I'll wait. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin completely annihilated that low. So I'm still in the trade. Like I said, I moved my stop for here, just because I got a little capital on it, not much. I know what the situation is when market opens. It's craziness. Plus, it's range bound. It's range bound. It's a huge stop. I just wanted to see what it was. I'm put it back like I had it there. It's like a 33.33, but the risk to reward is crappy. So that didn't make it. All right. Be around this weekend. If there is a good position to take right now, I still say it's going to break to the upside, just based on the 1 hour time frame. It's still range bound, but maybe just grab this little liquidity in here. I don't know if it wants to grab this little liquidity that's down through here. These equal bottoms, it usually makes some great liquidity. Great place for price action to come back to. Since it did take this liquidity and got an absolute elephant in. That kind of doesn't make sense. I hate I hate when well, actually I love when I see a shave bottom and price doesn't continue to roll over. It's struggling, but that shave bottom meant that there was no retaliation, and that candle should not have managed to get up there. Should have kept going. That's a shave bottom. Next candle open, it just kept going. You don't get a shave bottom and manage to still push price up. So I'm gonna look at this area again for taking another long opportunity. I'm not gonna overtrade it, and them fees add up. While I'm harping about that bottom being a shaved bottom, we did get a shaved top right there too. That was, you can still call that an elephant candle right there. And that was one right there. And while I'm thinking about it, let me look back at Doge. All right. See you later.